In 1970, a young man named Richard Dennis stepped onto the bustling floors of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange with just $1,600 in his pocket. The pits were alive with noise and chaos. Traders shouted prices, gestured wildly, and moved with speed that seemed almost impossible to follow. Most people would have felt overwhelmed or intimidated, but Dennis saw an opportunity that others did not. He saw the potential to turn a small amount of capital into a fortune. What separated him from the crowd was not just intelligence or mathematical skill, but a deep understanding of human behavior and his own mind. He understood that success in trading was as much about psychology as it was about strategy. While other traders chased big patterns or tried to time the market perfectly, Dennis focused on mastering his emotions, learning to act decisively while maintaining mental clarity in the midst of chaos. Within a few years, he transformed that small stake into over $200 million, earning a reputation as one of the greatest traders of his time. But it wasn't luck that fueled his success. It was a disciplined mind, a well-trained emotional state, and a system that he could follow without hesitation. His story is more than a tale of wealth. It is a lesson in how understanding psychology, managing emotions, and building discipline can turn ordinary traders into extraordinary ones. Richard Dennis was not born into wealth, and he did not have an immediate advantage in the markets. His journey began with curiosity and an insatiable desire to understand how markets worked. He was fascinated by patterns, not just in charts, but in human behavior. He observed the way traders reacted to gains and losses, the way fear and greed influenced decisions, and the subtle habits that separated winners from losers. From early on, Dennis realized that trading success depended less on being clever and more on controlling the mind under pressure. Every trade, every decision, every moment of exposure to risk became an opportunity to practice discipline. He created routines and mental structures that allowed him to remain calm and objective even when the market moved against him. Losses did not derail him, and wins did not tempt him to overextend. In understanding that the brain is wired to react emotionally to risk and reward, Dennis found a path that most traders never even consider. While the majority of traders focused on indicators, technical patterns, or trying to guess what the market would do next, Dennis focused on controlling his reactions, building habits, and thinking probabilistically. His edge was not in the chart, but in his ability to execute trades without being hijacked by fear, greed, or overconfidence. By the early 1980s, Dennis had achieved enormous personal success. But he wanted to prove a point. Could trading be taught? Could people with no experience learn to trade successfully if they adopted the right mindset and discipline? To answer this, he launched an experiment that would become legendary. He recruited a group of complete strangers, taught them his methods, and trained them to trade using his principles. These individuals became known as the turtle traders. Dennis didn't just teach them a set of rules for buying and selling. He taught them to master their emotions, to stick to a disciplined process, and to approach trading with probability-based thinking. The results were staggering. These novices went on to generate millions in profits because they followed a system that emphasized consistency, discipline, and mental control over flashy strategies or high-risk gambles. The Turtle Traders experiment became proof that trading success is not about genius or intuition. It is about mastering yourself, building a repeatable process, and training your mind to remain calm under pressure. Dennis's philosophy emphasized that the market is always uncertain, and the only real control a trader has is over their own behavior and emotional response. Fear and greed are predictable. They can be trained and managed. The ability to consistently execute your plan is far more important than predicting the next big move. What can modern traders learn from Richard Dennis today? First, focus on process over outcome. Too many traders evaluate themselves by their wins and losses, by the size of their profits or losses, rather than the quality of their execution. Dennis trained himself and his students to measure success by whether they followed the plan, whether they executed trades consistently, and whether they managed their emotions correctly. Second, detach from fear and greed. Your emotions are part of the trading environment. They will always arise. They are neither good nor bad, but they must be observed, understood, and managed. Dennis taught his students to embrace probability thinking, to see each trade as one of many, and to remain objective in every situation. Third, consistency beats excitement. Small, controlled trades executed repeatedly over time will grow accounts and develop confidence, while chasing big, flashy wins often leads to emotional hijacking and catastrophic losses. Trading is not about adrenaline. It is about discipline, emotional regulation, and patience. Fourth, build habits that reinforce mental control. Every routine, every checklist, every step of preparation is an opportunity to strengthen the mind. In markets where outcomes are unpredictable, your mindset becomes the ultimate edge. Dennis understood that the most successful traders are those who can execute their process without being swayed by temporary emotions. They focus on the long-term probability of success, not on the thrill of the moment. Richard Dennis's story also teaches an important lesson about training and mentorship. He proved that ordinary people, when taught the right mindset and habits, can outperform experienced traders. The turtle traders were not inherently gifted. They were disciplined. They learned to follow a system that reduced emotional interference and emphasized execution over guessing. This approach works because the brain is designed to react to risk. Left unchecked, these reactions, fear, greed, impatience, frustration, will always sabotage trading decisions. But with awareness, training, and deliberate practice, these reactions can be transformed into tools for better decision-making. The difference between a successful trader and a failing trader is not luck. It is self-mastery, emotional intelligence, and a process-oriented approach. By following these principles, traders can turn discipline into results, small, consistent wins into long-term success, and mental clarity into a measurable edge in the market. If you are a modern trader struggling to achieve consistency, reflect on this. You cannot control the market. You can only control your mind, your habits, and your process. The markets will always present uncertainty. There will always be losses, drawdowns, and setbacks. But if you can manage your emotions, follow a disciplined process, and think in probabilities rather than certainties, you can survive and thrive where others fail. Trading psychology is not a superficial skill. It is the foundation for every profitable decision. It shapes how you enter trades, how you exit, and how you respond to unexpected outcomes. It determines whether you stick to your rules or chase impulses. Richard Dennis built a fortune not by predicting the market, but by mastering the inner game of trading. By controlling himself, he gained control over his results. By teaching others, he proved that this mastery can be learned, adopted, and replicated. In the end, the story of Richard Dennis is more than a tale of enormous wealth. It is a roadmap for anyone seeking consistent results in trading. It is a lesson in discipline, patience, emotional awareness, and the power of probability thinking. To emulate his success, focus on your process. Build habits that strengthen your mind. Observe your emotions without judgment. Detach from outcomes. Accept that losses are inevitable and that success is a product of consistency, not luck. The mind that can act rationally under pressure is the ultimate trading weapon. If you adopt this mindset, apply these principles, and stay disciplined over the long term, you can turn even small beginnings into extraordinary results. Richard Dennis's life proves it. What you do with your mind today will determine your results tomorrow.